go cold. Come along.
Folks seem happy, Mr. Morgan. We have been provided for.
That we have, Reverend.
Have a fine time, sir.
Arthur.
You busy, Arthur?
So, Arthur, when I was in Valentine, nosing about, I think I found something interesting.
What's that, Tilly?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. Something about the doctor's office. There's something funny going on there. Saw a bunch of nasty boys going in and none of them coming out.
Thank you. Maybe I'll go take a look. Anything else?
No, just that.
Well, keep looking.
Will do.
How are you, Mr. Morgan?
Come on now, Pearson.
Hi.
Arthur.
Guess it's my turn for guard duty.
Hello, Arthur.
Arthur.
Well, I am exhausted.
Mr. Matthew?
Hi, Karen.
Hey, Arthur.
You don't look so good, Hosea.
You okay, Tilly? feeling better. That's good to hear. Hi, Tilly.
Hey, Karen.
head is calling me.